Is there a motion to return to open session?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to return to open session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes shall take the day. We're back at it. Judge Ogden is here to address something. He's got some stuff going on in court, so he had recessed, I think, briefly to be able to be over here. So let's go ahead and give him an opportunity so he can get back over on the bench.
Sure. So I'm here just to, I know there's been some questions with regard to what we call the memorandum of understanding or MOU monies, some $250,000 that for the last, now this was the third fiscal year where it's allocated. And so those monies are allocated through the court fund for our drapes, carpet, and painting. Those types of projects to help us maintain the courtrooms and the chambers, also drapery. So in the past, what has happened, because this is somewhat new in the last three fiscal year cycles, is that the county has funded that $250,000 because it's paid back through the court fund. So just as soon as purchase order is issued and then it's completed, then I sign a claim and then it reimburses the county. But I know that from last year when Cody was working on this, that the county had to go ahead and refund that money. So this year we've already started, and we were kind of under the assumption those monies had already been funded by the county for FY26, the $250,000, so we could begin to issue purchase orders and begin to complete those projects that are now on cycle for FY26. And so I'm just here to kind of answer any questions and to talk about how we proceed forward. We do already have a number of projects that are lined up. So what I did as presiding, starting a couple of years ago, is I asked Renee and her staff to get together. We identified emergent problems in the courthouse where carpet was ripped up and things like that, and drapes falling on. So we have things lined up and ready to go. But when talking with I think Jessica and some others, we were concerned as to whether or not those monies have been appropriated by the county so that we can move forward. So I'm just here to answer any questions. I know that Brandy and I spoke briefly this morning. And, I don't know if there's some funds that have already been set aside, and if so, then how much do we have?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, sorry, Cody. I just want to tell you up front, Judge, because I told you I would get this information. Currently, that line item has $1,900, basically $1,929 and unallocated that is available. And it looks like we have $1,179 that is allocated, and that is towards digital signage. And so it looks like those are the only two items in that line item at this time.
So what we would need to do, because that's all from last year.
Right.
So it sounds like then there's not been any.
No, there hasn't been yet. What I had asked the three commissioners' offices last week, I think it was to get with Jessica, because I know in our capital account, which is where there's a line item for this particular funding, there's been other projects through the years that have been completed but did not utilize all of the funds that were put in that line item. And so there was, a piling up of monies in there. So what I wanted was to see how much was in there, and if there's enough for the 250, then Jessica could put an agenda item on for budget board on Thursday to transfer X number from this line into the courthouse maintenance, transfer this amount from this line in to get that $250,000 balance. My understanding after that conversation was that there was sufficient funds found in there, like 500,000 or something that was available to be moved down into that line item so that we did not need to address it with the September supplement And then what we were looking at doing potentially in the future is having it separated out to where those funds, because they come in as reimbursement, my understanding, so it's an up to amount, up to 250,000 that you'll get for those projects. As those dollars come in, they would go directly to that account so that it would be available for the pre-funding later, and we wouldn't have to be in this situation to where you're waiting for funds and we're trying to, move stuff around. It would just be there and available.
And we certainly don't want to, and I understand, that sounds like if there's a way where there's already some funds that are built up in an account to transfer over, that's fine. When I was talking to Brandon this morning, we certainly don't want to create a budget problem because of just, timing of funds and things of that nature. I asked Renee, I said, what do we have currently in the pipeline that, let's say where we couldn't wait until October, where we really need to get those POs in place and get things rolling. And I think the answer to that is, about $50,000. So if timing is an issue, then the timing of it would be, yes, I mean, we need to probably get some $50,000 into an account so that we get the purchase orders running and things going, and then fund the rest of the balance of that for FY26. When you all have the.
Jessica, as far as those funds that you identified in the various, are those things that you're able to put on budget board this Thursday to go ahead and get those transferred?
Yeah, so we have had multiple meetings since the last BET conversation. We've had a meeting with Stacy and Keith and Aaron in order to figure out what exactly we're closing out. Had a meeting with Paul and Joe and Chantel's office. We're closing out almost every single one of these line items except for two. And so in cleaning this up, and because of the extent of that, I, following that meeting, have already sent it over to Chantel and the finance team in order to start working on the budget board items. But because it was so complex and because I didn't have an infrastructure meeting in order to make that recommendation to budget board, we had determined that we were going to put it on the agenda for October. So we could follow the proper steps, going to infrastructure, having them go ahead and close out, make the recommendation to close all these out, put it into unallocated funds, and then have time in order to be able to put it on the October budget board meeting. And so that was what was determined.
Judge, or you need
What's
it
that?
more? Do you need it sooner than
We
October?
do need something. We need something sooner than October, and the reason why we say that's when I was giving you the $50,000 number, because if we wait till October, then all these projects then stack up, and it creates a real problem for Keith, because then we're trying to do all these projects later in the year. One thing we learned from previous cycles was that if we were able to get with maintenance with the building, say, okay, here's our projects, and get them kind of outlined into the pipeline so that they're able to be done over a 12-month cycle, as opposed to what we were doing, in FY24, 25, kind of rushing around and trying to get stuff spent by the end of the year, and we don't want to do that. So we have things ready to go, and we do have things that are priorities that we need to. We were already intended on starting, and we were kind of stopped by this process when we were getting ready to do some things. Just in the last few weeks was when Keith came to us and said, "It's all the money in place." So I don't believe it is. So, but then we found it wasn't. So that's kind of like the answer is that yes, we need some money before October to keep things kind of in the pipeline going.
So let me ask this, because you mentioned infrastructure, and we've got the three offices that are on infrastructure sitting at this table right here. Do any of you have an issue with Jessica creating an agenda item for budget board to transfer either $50,000 or the full $250,000 from those lines that have already been identified that are going to be cleaned up and moved out? I don't see why we would take money that's in capital, that stays in capital, that could be used for capital, to not do that and move money from general fund reserve over there when the money's already there.
There's
So,
plenty of funds to cover it. Yeah.
so I don't see the, I don't see the utility in waiting, for the transfer, from one line item or multiple line items down into another one. Does any of the commissioner's offices object to that?
District Two does not object. I mean, I know the diligence that you've done working with Stacy and Keith on this, so we are in support.
District 3, District 1, are you guys cool?
District 3 is fine. Go right ahead.
There you go.
Thank you.
And hang on, is that for the full 250?
Sure.
Okay, yep, there we go.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
just
You bet.
need the authority to do it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Judge.
And I will say one more thing. In the estimate need that was presented for this year's budget, only 50. Thank you, Christy, for bringing that up at the last BET meeting. Only 50,000 was requested, and so we definitely for next year need to ask for the full 250 and that estimated need, so that way it's already funded and we're not having to have these conversations in September, October.
Well, we may change the process between now and then. If we can get something set up to where there's a separate account to where those funds are being reimbursed. So we got 250,000 in the capital account for the courts to start using. As they use those dollars, they're going to submit invoices over to the AOC, I'm assuming, and they will get reimbursement. When those reimbursements come back, if we have a system set up to where it doesn't come into general fund, initially it comes into another fund, then we won't have to address this at estimate of needs time. They're going to constantly have that. Now, the one thing that they'll need to be aware of is if you only did $225,000 the previous year, you didn't do the full 250, there would only be 225 in there to begin that next year because it would be the reimbursement of the funds that were utilized the previous year.
And then in any
Like,
event,
we're doing
it's still a
250,
lot
it should
easier.
always be 250.
Well, you're right, because
We'll
we're
have a
front
balance.
funding, so that balance should continue to carry. But what we'll need to do is, well, we may not be able to pull the amount that they don't utilize. Let's say they utilize 225 this year and there's 25,000 left. I don't know that we could transfer that from
No,
that
I would just
capital
envision it
over.
stays in capital project, so it.
Just a separate into there?
because
Okay,
We will need to create a miscellaneous receipt number, so when we book it, we'll know exactly what line item would be appropriated to capital, what, and so it'll.
okay, so then it'll just revolve. So like this year, you have 250 in there. If you only spend 225, so you only get reimbursement of 225, you'll still have 25,000 of the 250 that we put in that would go on top of the 225. And so you should stay at.
And it's still a
That
reimbursement
balance.
process, so in any event, the answer to that is it's a lot easier pill to swallow if it's a $25,000 upfront or funding upfront as opposed to $250.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we had a plan for.
Yeah, that's not, no, that's good.
All right.
I really appreciate you all letting me kind of butt in and take the first thing on the agenda. I'm gonna go back to court now and finish up.
Thank you,
Judge.
Judge. Thank you,
Thank you,
Judge.
Judge.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's go back to this for just a second. Jessica, in the sheet that you provided on the update on the capital projects, there's an item, courthouse elevator upgrade, that has a balance of $348,452 that has a note that says close and transferred and allocated.
Yes.
I would just suggest you take the 250 from that line item and transfer 250 down to the courthouse and then close. It'd be easier than trying to pick up a million different little projects.
Okay. That's a great recommendation. But yes, that is one that we're able to close along with almost every single line item on this report.
That's great. Thanks.
And so I will be sure to do that. Thank you, Jeff.
We've already voted on that 250 as a group, right? So we don't need to do anything else as a BET to make sure that's done. Right.
Well,
I remember we talked about it and taking it out of.
yeah,
existing capital.
it's already in existing capital. It's not a general fund reserve item, so I don't really think it's not really anything that we need to take action on. I just wanted it to be clear that the three offices, since you can't have an infrastructure meeting at the time that you weren't.
Correct.
So if the rest of those line items close out on that sheet, where does that money go? Is that something we need to consider as well or has that already been considered?
It'll have to stay
It'll
in
stay-
capital.
it'll
It'll just go
It'll stay
down
in the
to
capital fund. Okay.
unallocated or.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other things to fund here.
Yeah.
So,
We're also writing a policy in order to, what the procedure would be in an emergency situation, like we got into with the flood at the courthouse and not being able to issue immediate EOs, and that caused some issues. And so we're working on a policy, working on cleaning up this report, closing the line items and moving it to the unallocated
so
funds.
do you have a general idea at this time, after the 250, what the balance is gonna be in capital?
As of this Thursday at budget board, I do not have a very confident answer because I know that my report is not the most updated. It's from July, and that's why I don't have August quite yet. What's showing on here right now is 547,000. So
After the 250.
that's before we do the
More than
250. So we have plenty. But there'll be, after we close it out, there'll be almost, I would assume almost $1 million once we close everything out. Nearly.
Is there
Because there's some bigger line items like that 348 that Joe had just mentioned, plus the 194, 182, and then the capital projects as needed are not, but they're budgeted, but they're not encumbered. And so we're going to clean it up and make sure we know exactly what we're
So
So you still have an unallocated and an as needed, right?
doing.
The as needed was so Keith could get to the money quick.
Yeah, we don't have a way to
Yeah.
get
Get
to it quick. And then we end up with improper purchases, and because we have to, go ahead and issue POs, so we need to make sure we.
It was just
Have a
to stop
plan.
the preparation. So we just gave him kind of a pot for.
so normally this is the account that we have about $300,000 in.
Correct.
And there'll be $1 million-ish.
Well,
Probably.
we're moving the 250 over, and then we've moved some funds that aren't on my report for the flood, and so it's quite messy right now.
Okay.
I'm not real confident with giving you.
No, that's fine. The only reason I was just bringing it up is that I just kind of as a group, once we get to that discussion, I feel like that gives us a little bit more padding.
Yes.
Should we decide to do the COLA against maybe a lower reserve than we're used to.
Maybe.
If benefits is found, still a few other things.
Several things that have been done.
And I'm just waiting for the August report that the finance team should be able to provide to me shortly, because they'll have to have it for the September budget board meeting. So once I have that, and then I can give you an estimate, I can send it out to every one of these committee members, your committee members here today, what the amount will be after the transfer of Thursday for the 250, and then what the amount will be once we close the office line items. I just need their report to make sure my numbers are accurate.
I think to Brandon's point, a lot of times when we see emergencies throughout the fiscal year, it's related to capital needs, right? And if there's a balance in there of some sort beyond the amount that's normally allocated for emergencies, that we may not need reserve dollars for every one of those occurrences.
Also, the reserve, that's the reserve.
Yeah,
Capital
we're gonna make sure you know exactly what's in there.
That's not a bad idea, having a capital reserve.
Any other questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Unless there's objection, we've got a document that was passed out this morning. It is a revised document related to the revenues for this fiscal year. Without objection, the chair will ask the clerk to make this a part of the record.
What were the changes?
Thanks to your inquiry, there was an increase of, in the interest income county line and interest income ARPA.
Where do the increase come from, Christie? Like the numbers,
Just interest.
It was just some estimates sent into the clerk's office.
It was what?
It was just some estimates from our office to the clerk's office that hadn't gotten picked up.
Are there any other items that need closer scrutiny? $2.5 million is quite a bit to miss.
Joe, I appreciate the question. Christie, I appreciate you checking and verifying on this. Because that is substantial difference from what we were looking at last week.
So just to clarify, the ARPA interest specifically, we had estimated 750, but we've since realized that it's actually 1.5. Okay.
And the county interest income, we had previously 1.75, 3.5. Yeah.
So the 1.75, like you said, was just an estimate.
Yeah, other things I was talking about that weren't
Well, there was an estimate done in
discussed.
March. We
Right.
did another one in April. I just didn't get
It didn't get picked up.
on the,
So this money could have been in our budget July 1, our anticipated revenues July 1, and it was just overlooked.
Did Mark send that email?
yeah, it was sent to you on, it may have been Stacy, April 25th.
Okay.
The attachment.
So are we confident now with capturing?
I'm comfortable now.
You're good?
It was a
Okay.
good catch, yeah.
All right, so that's a significant change to where the conversation had been related to the lower number in the ongoing, if you will, reserve. That's a significant change to that number. And Christie had talked about having $1 million. I think where we were at previously,
Let's go
we're
ahead.
above that
Yeah.
now, right?
You finished this
Significant.
document?
Yeah, let's, we're gonna get this document made a part of the record, but let's go ahead and get a motion to receive the updated estimate of revenues.
Sure.
That way we,
A second.
okay. We got a motion and a second to receive the updated estimate of revenues for FY 25-26. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Albert, have you adjusted the numbers that we will be looking at on spreadsheets to indicate the increase in revenue? Maybe.
If we're moving on to the recommendation, I kind of have a stab. I had to make a cheat sheet for Butch. Hopefully it's really easy to understand with all the new numbers. I can pass it out and you can take a look at it. It'd be a shot at a recommendation. If anyone's okay.
Yeah, you want to pass it out? That'd be great.
Thank you, Christie.
You bet.
Three things we need to look at that haven't really been discussed at this point, where it comes out of,
Okay,
capital.
just real quick. Without objection, the chair will ask the clerk to make this document part of the record.
If there's an extra, we can pass it to Albert.
We've got an extra here. Paul, go ahead.
And whether it comes out of capital, whether it comes out of general fund reserve one time, I don't know, but we've got to consider, I don't have the exact figures, but the ADA elevator in the courthouse is gonna have to be replaced. That's gonna be somewhere around 150,000. Fourth floor courtroom being put in is gonna be probably about 130. And the asbestos in the two elevator shafts be pretty close to 225 each
Each?
to remove.
What if we do this, Paul?
There's two elevators.
Well, I understand that. I had originally heard that was the number for both.
I was told each.
What if we do this on those items? Take a look at capital. We know we're sitting, after our recommendation, we know we're gonna be sitting on $7 or $8 million. And then to start addressing those, and you've got real numbers and then it's time to pull the trigger on them. But assured, there's money there for them.
Sure, I'm just.
If there's not enough in capital.
What was the 134?
The fourth floor courtroom.
Oh, yeah, 4.
Are these new? these new items that come up since our first go round at this back in April or?
Yes, the ADA elevator and the asbestos for sure.
Okay.
Courtroom, not quite sure on the timing, but
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think those will probably warrant further discussions as we move down the line. To Christie's point, those funds will be, sounds like available in the capital account to cover that. But I think, to your point, there may not be quite as much left over in that capital account as what we were talking about moments ago. So, all right.
This is just a shot at a recommendation. We can go down through it, or it's pretty self-explanatory. The reason there's some items highlighted, those are items that we as a group still have not made a individual recommendation on, or we already have made a recommendation on, but it possibly could be different now that we found more money. For example, the money going into one-time funds to general fund reserve, the very first highlight. Now we've picked up the additional 750, so that would take that to 1.5. The other item that we had already voted on as a group is the employee salary adjustment. It'll be about the third highlight down on the page. We had it at 3%. Butch wanted to entertain 3.2. It's only picking up like $97,000 more dollars. The other ones, again, the other one that we haven't voted on, others we haven't voted on. So the new one that we haven't had or talked about yet is the employees benefit CJA premium.
Mhm.
When we raised it last year, we gave them money for their share as well, as I think we should.
Yep.
No. That's contemplated, right?
Or was that in your,
Because he had the total number of participants, I think that included the jail.
did you include the jail?
556,000 should have included the jail.
Did it?
It
Last
should have.
you.
Well, I'm from,
Oh, okay.
because it's 36,000, you have on there, Christie,
That,
that's just the retro for July, August, September, if we were to put 3%.
okay.
So,
Then I must have misunderstood the email from Brooke this morning,
Yeah.
or she misunderstood what I was asking.
So like in J 63. So when Wilkerson, maybe we should confirm with them, but
yeah.
I mean, if I remember right, there was 1,100 something.
Let me pull up that thing here.
I can't imagine that those would be singled out, but they're still general fund, right? Or
Well, the thing is, since it was done different this year than it was done the previous year, the money was loaded in the budget and then it was transferred out instead of expensed out. This year, we didn't do either, right? It was
Right.
just held out.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming it was held out on CJA as well, correct?
Correct.
So to Brandon's point, when we're transferring the 556, it would be included in that, right?
that 556 was calculated off of the total
CJA,
participant number. of
I don't-
131.
I don't think the full amount of CJA, and I could be wrong, got loaded. So when you went to do appropriations for July 1, the first part you're saying is right, that it didn't even get put in anyone's budget. The appropriation went right into employee benefit supplement. But I think the jail comes in, doesn't it come in monthly? So we do that one monthly and move it to employees benefit, or employee supplement.
We're not-
It does, Christie, but that participant count, the total number of participants that we have on employee benefits, 1131, which that has to include the jails, that's not. And so what I think happened is that 556 number came from a calculation off of that. So if it included that number, that money's not accounted for, because I think we backed into the 556. Does that make sense? So, because the jail is included in those 1131 participants, right?
So if that's part of the 14 million that got put in there, now we're also putting in 334 a month,
Was it 334,
monthly from CJA.
based on the rest of the needs, was 4 million, y'all kept it the same as the year before, so it was a 4,008,360, I believe.
Right.
So divide that by
But
the
that's
12.
getting, did that all get put in
That all
employees'
got-
benefits July 1, or is it getting put in employees'
No,
benefits?
put in.
Yeah, that was my understanding. That's why I
Okay.
think it's already included there.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, that 1131 includes cash accounts and general fund, because if you take the 20.2 million, that brings us to that 700,000-ish number. On the 3.6% increase, so it brings us to that 731.03. So that has to include the jail's numbers. Now, how it happens on the other end, I'm unclear as this, but that 556 has to include those numbers, but because we calculated it based on that participant, which certainly includes the jail employees. I mean, that's a good catch, but I think we would be double providing
That's
the
what I was,
numbers.
yeah, okay. If we put it all in there July 1, that works.
I mean, I don't want to be the only loudmouth calculator. I mean, if that's what everybody else remembers. I'm almost positive we base it off of that number right there. And then Wilkerson came back in at the next meeting and broke it out, what was cash, what was general fund.
And he said that the 800,000-ish that was on the watch list, because he thought that's what he was gonna need additional to get through, the 806, based on the employee increase and the employer increase that we contemplated, that covered all of those dollars necessary. So I think we're good.
So the
Christie?
only question is if this 36,075.24 would be the full CJA 3.6 for 12 months.
I don't think it would be.
Yeah.
But this
Well,
is,
we can figure it out.
this 36,000, that's the retro from July, August,
So we
September.
would need it
Why,
for 12 months.
why are we putting retro? It's calculated retro from that number.
Well, we're increasing it by
Yeah.
3.6,
No, I get
but we
that,
need
but
it for 12 months.
But you need it for 12 months, yeah, not just the retro piece.
But the five
the
fifty-six
556
is
includes
retro.
from July 1.
Right.
So if the 556 includes the jail, are retro.
Yeah, there's-
Right, but if it
But we're
doesn't
doing it
include the jail, then you don't need just the retro, you need the full amount, full 12 months.
Christie, what are you saying that it's because there's an increase on?
Well,
trying to track here.
we're increasing the general fund employer premium, but we also need to, I feel like we need to put it in for the CJA employees too.
No, I agree.
Well, but,
Now,
but
if the 556 includes the CJA employees, we're good. But
Okay.
I know last year on this exact sheet, because that's what I used to do this year,
Yeah,
we had two separate lines, this exact sheet. And so we had the employees' benefits, the same line, and it had a CJA line.
But last year, they did it as a transfer, and this year, we thought it was gonna be either a transfer or an expense, but
Mhm.
it wasn't done either of those ways. It was never loaded into the budget to begin with.
So the question is, does the 556 include the CJA employees?
as I said, maybe we can see if John's here.
Ryan's
Because
gonna check.
I know that the 1131 is the entire participant count for the whole county,
Gotcha.
which would include general fund, jail, and all of our cash accounts. So,
So it shouldn't.
well,
You're thinking the
I would think
556,
so.
right? Okay, I'm
So-
following you.
And so, and the only reason I said that is because I just took the 20,280,648, which is what our current premiums are.
It is on there.
Yeah.
556, 848 does have the jail trust. So that would work.
Okay.
So we would need the line.
The
we would need
36,
the
075,
36, yeah.
Okay. So take that off of there. Christie, on your county audit up there, that one's not highlighted, the 82,154. Does that reflect the additional revenues that we've found?
The additional revenue, so that the county audit is 1/10 of a mil, so it'd only be on.
Oh,
property
yeah, it's
taxes.
not on the, yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you are confident though that 556 includes the jail?
Yeah, I just saw it on John's sheet.
Okay.
It's on the last.
Okay.
So the total of ongoing operations from supplement that 2952024 can be increased.
What you would increase is the line below it, ongoing funds to reserve. That 2952024 is locked in.
Okay. I get you.
So you're just adding another 36,000 to the 570. And it would change the balance in the very last note.
Okay, so that's 606, 490, 46 is what ongoing funds to general fund reserve.
I think we're gonna manage it, but we just wanted to see it.
So where she is?
She's just so excited about that extra 36,000.
So Christy, this one-time funds to general fund reserve, that is the ARPA interest.
And generally, we've always taken it because it's not considered, like, it'll go away someday. So
Right,
we've always been
right.
putting it in that. On our BET watch list, we've always been putting it there.
Now remind me, haven't we historically voted to move that over into jail capital?
We did until this year's budget board, I think.
Last year, our group recommended,
Mhm.
when we made our recommendation, but when it got to budget.
It did not, okay. I just wanted to refresh my memory.
But we have budget board, that's.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So on this list then, Albert, we need to, on J 67, that needs to be $1.5 million, right?
Yeah.
Right, Christie?
Yes,
Okay,
we just need to take off the very last line.
the ongoing reserve.
No, wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm keeping it separate now. We still have our watch list with that in it. We're funding everything out of our supplement. Now, we were picking that up because we didn't have enough to help with the COLA or the salary adjustments.
So then, I guess, the next question is,
Our group did vote to do 3%. I know our office was wanting to look at 3.2 now.
Christie, I don't think we voted on that.
I thought we did, do we not?
We contemplated
I don't think-
different
I think we,
percentages, but I don't think we voted on it.
yes, I don't think we
Well-
did.
Either way.
So Christie, do you have a motion to include in our recommendation for the September supplement a 3.2% salary adjustment available to the elected officials to use at their discretion?
Yes.
Second.
Got a motion second, and just for the record, that 3.2%, which is retro to July 1, correct, Christie?
Yes, it is.
So the dollar amount associated with 3.2% is 1,566,583.04.
One more time.
1,566,583.04. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm a no. No.
Motion passes.
I will go ahead and also make a motion to move these one-time funds, the $1.5 million, that was the ARPA interest, over into jail capital.
Got a motion to move the 1.5 million of the increased ARPA interest revenue that we found out about today into jail capital, to the jail capital account. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'd be an aye.
Sounds like we got 3 ayes. Nays?
No.
No. No.
Just because I think the budget works, we do it.
You want a roll call on that? Did you get it?
I think I got it. So Christy, Carrie, and Brandy are all yays, and everyone else is a nay.
Paul, Joe, Rick, Mike, and Brandon. Okay. Motion failed. Anything else to consider?
I think we still need to vote on it. If, for the sake of keeping things moving, I'll make a motion, the one-time funds then sit in general fund reserve.
Allocated as one time.
Yes.
The 1.5, or no, it'd be more than 1.5.
That'd be one.
It's just.
Oh, yeah. Somebody and somebody. Okay. We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to put the 1.5 million ARPA interest into general fund reserve. And we will be tracking it as one-time money on our watch list. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. Do that. That's it. All right, motion passes 6-2.
Let's just go down the list. I think we didn't have a recommendation on the IT, the MIS for the sheriff, 43,000.
I'll move that recommendation.
Yeah.
Or are you wanting to now think about the 55?
Well,
amount?
I only want to ask for what we need. And so the only thing I would say is, I mean, if other people are, because I've just not dealt with, I mean, maybe the commissioner's offices, I've just not dealt with a 365 license structure. So, but here's the things that I know to be factual, because I went back and looked at email. When I originally had sent it over to Dane, it was for all of our reserves, and at the time was 135 reserves. That's not 135 now, it's down to about 105 now. That's not going to say it won't change and fluctuate slightly. But, you know, so I absolutely want this, and I would love to be able to try to push this through today. I also, you know, since Dane has requested that we kind of do this on our behalf, I don't know how that looks as a county when, let's say that we get another reserve who needs that, and we're short one license, we have to come over and ask for one license. You know, so that's why I just don't know how that works from a county's perspective and from an IT security perspective.
Why don't we just do the original 55, given you were at 135 and you dropped down and you may have some in it, then we have the funds available to address that contingency. Or if the money's available just for 365 licensors and there's that similar issue somewhere else, we don't have to.
Available.
We have licensing.
Yeah, I mean, I think an example might be like the court clerk's position. There wasn't a 365 license, you know, so I mean, I know they're kind of all in one big pot. So I think that, or at least I understand they're in one big pot. So yeah, I'm fine with the 55,000 as well. I just wanted to wait till we made sure that there was enough. I wanted to make sure the COLA was
You
addressed.
said it may fluctuate a little. Do you anticipate that it could go back up to 130?
I think so. You know, just we've tightened up the reserve structure a little bit, requiring, you know, a little bit more. So some people have just checked out. That's fine. And so,
With the Olympics coming up here in
Yeah,
a little while, we might start seeing more people
yeah,
wanting to come aboard and stuff. So,
yeah, it's possible. I mean, I just wanted to be cognizant, ask for what we needed. I didn't want to. And at the time, it was 135, but now it's.
I'm just wondering if it might be
I
somewhere in
I think it's
between
possible
and
it
it's
could go
50.
up. I don't anticipate it going down any further.
Okay.
So if anything, I think it would go up, but I have no idea how to know what number it is.
And if it's not expended, it's gonna roll over and it'll be available for next year.
Yeah, again, this goes into Dane's budget, not ours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Chris pointed out Dane manages.
yeah, it's Dane's budget, not ours.
75,000.
It's kind of weird changing something for somebody else, but it helps us, so.
You wanna make a motion, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, if we're comfortable doing 55, I am. I just, again, I want to make sure the group's comfortable with that, but I'll make a motion to, fund the, MIS request on behalf of the sheriff for $55,000. Out of the September supplement, that'd be put into the MIS, I guess, general fund budget. Yeah. So.
Second.
motion second. Kat, so you clear on the motion? Okay. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Appreciate that.
That will then take
I know
our
Dane, I know
ongoing-
Dane appreciates it.
The ongoing funds reserve will now be below by 12,000.
Okay, so Dane, or, Albert, does that bottom number, that 637,490, that represents the amount of money that we'd be putting into the ongoing reserve? Is that
Yes.
okay?
So that's on top of how much?
I'm coming up with.
Yeah, my numbers aren't in my head matching, so that's why I was wondering.
I've got like 594, 490, 46. I guess I can do a calculator.
Yeah, I've got
I got 594, 494.
594. Yep.
So where are we off?
It's,
Court clerk, that number's right. No. Did we do the 62,250 on court clerk? Did we do, the full amount?
I didn't believe it was annual.
We did 9 months.
Yeah.
He's got it right now. We're matching it.
Okay.
Remaining,
Sorry.
So the 594, 490, 46 is what would be putting into ongoing from supplement, correct?
Yes.
So that is on top of what we currently have,
Mhm.
The 1,090,000. Right.
$1,061,077.30.
Yeah, so it's like 1.6, $1.7 million. Can you add that to that so we can see the total number, Albert?
It'd be 1,655,567.76. 567.76. That would then be the reserve balance for ongoing. 1,655,567.76.
We had 1,090,000.
So I don't know on the watch list that we had attached.
We'll have to go back to the watch list. Do a few things.
Was
Clean up.
1,061,000. That's just where.
That's probably right.
Okay, so as of right now, from the supplement, we've had a vote and a recommendation for the elected official salary increase of $34,698.50, the county audit of $82,154, the court clerk for the courtroom clerk for 9 months at $62,250. We've got the recommendation $55,000 going into IT for the Microsoft 360. We've got a recommendation of $1,566,533.04 for a 3.2%, 12-month, so it'd be a retro salary adjustment. Those are, and then we've got a recommendation of putting $1.5 million of ARPA interest into reserve, notating it as one-time reserve dollars. Those are the items that I have jotted down here as the actionable things that we've done thus far. So there, which would leave an amount of $594,490.46 of supplement dollars to work with. We can make a recommendation to include that $594,490.46 in the reserve account to begin the year, and it would be ongoing reserve dollars in reserve, or those monies if anybody wants to talk about other funding options for that. I think that's kind of where we are right now.
I'll make a motion, we put the 594,490.06.
46.
46, I apologize, 46, can't read mine right. 46 into the ongoing general fund reserve.
Okay, got a motion and a second to recommend a budget board that $594,490.46 of the September supplement dollars be added to the general fund reserve account, notated as ongoing reserve dollars. Any discussion?
I need that amount one more time.
594,490.46.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Billion.
You know, really. You know what's funny is there's so many entities out there. Yeah, no, it's not close. All right, any comments? If not, we'll go ahead and ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Albert, would you do me, would you be able to put up there, unless it's up there somewhere already, how much money we will have in reserve that would be allocated to one time and how much will be allocated to ongoing?
It's at the bottom of your sheet,
That is it, so
the
we'll
very,
have.
very bottom,
Okay.
balance and reserve,
and-
recommendation. Now, we do have one change,
The 12,000
the
and the
ongoing
36.
and the 36. So the ongoing would now be 1,655,567.76.
1,655.
1,655,
Uh-huh.
567.76.
Okay, and then the one time, that number's correct?
Yes, that's what's already
So
in
it
there
actually
plus the
went up.
1.5.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason it went up is because that's the difference of the 36,000 and the 12,000.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So there'll be
24, it went up by $24,075.
I mean, when's the last time we had $10,300,000 in reserve?
About, I mean, we didn't have any decent money in there since we've been at 14.8.
All right, let's go ahead and finish. Is there anything else on this agenda that anybody wants to talk about? If not, I'm going to finish up item 11. So
I'd like to go back to after this, go back to the watch list.
after we finish 11,
11,
it's our recommendation.
that's fine.
Okay.
You want to take the recommendation?
So, just to be clear, and we did everything individually, and I don't want to vote on it as a whole because that puts, I know Brandy and Carrie had a couple of items that they had voted no on. So and a bunch of stuff that you voted yes on. So I don't want you to have to vote no on the things that you voted yes for, or vote yes on something that includes stuff you voted no for. But just for the record, our recommendation from this group will be adjusting the revenue dollars up based upon the interest income of $2.5 million and utilizing the September supplement to fund the elected official salary, the statutorily required increase in elected official salary, $34,698.50, a statutorily required county audit increase of $82,154, 9 months of funding for the court clerk, for a new courtroom clerk of $62,250, an increase to IT for Microsoft 365 of $55,000. It includes an employee salary adjustment of 3.2% retro back to July 1, so it will encompass a full 12 months. That is for $1,566,583.04, and putting $1.5 million of ARPA interest into the reserve as one-time reserve dollars, and putting $594,490.46 into general fund reserve as ongoing reserve dollars. Is that clear with there? I mean, am I missing anything? Everybody on the same page? Okay. That is what recommendation I will be presenting to budget board based upon the individual votes on those particular items.
We had where our group did agree on the 3% to the employee premiums. So under additional BET recommendations, I know last year we had done that as well. Made budget board aware of that recommendation too.
I'm sorry.
So on the sheet, additional BET recommendations,
Uh-huh.
the 3% increase to employees' premiums, we voted on it, but we haven't presented that to budget board. It's a non-monetary at this point, but. And then I thought about under that same section, additional BET recommendations, possibly putting the 250 for courthouse, the courthouse paying rates and stuff out to show our intent of what I just don't want someone to see this on budget board and go kind of like the judge did and was a little worried about where that, that we talked about it and that's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, we can mention that, and it should be on that particular agenda. Under a different line item, but on this here, we're recommending based upon a vote today of 3.2% increase. Will that be confusing if we have this 3% on here as well, and then the 3.2?
I don't think so. It's employer and employee.
Okay.
I put the starting 1/1/26.
Okay.
I mean, there's technically three different things to go through. 3% for the employees.
And 3.6.
Benefits. There's a 3.6% for your 3.2% COLA.
That's what the reason.
Yeah, and I saw that 3%, and I haven't finished my first cup of coffee today, and for some reason I was thinking employee, the pay adjustment, not premiums. So
Yeah,
that's where,
we get
if
it
we
out
had
there
talked
for the-
3% before and then we adjusted to 3.2, but I got you. So yeah, I will mention those as well. And then if it comes up or whatever, I got a note on the 250,000 for courts. So yeah, on budget board for Thursday, we will present the recommendation of this group for the September supplement, and we will have agenda items on there regarding the employer and the employee premium change.
I mean, I don't mean this to sound kind of weird, but so on our wording of the 3.2%, I mean, to be honest with you, the only reason that I would recommend doing the work is for the county clerk's office, and you all voted no on that. I mean, so is there, I mean, do we still call it that funky wording to accommodate the county clerk if you are no? I mean, again, because the only reason I voted for that is just to accommodate you guys on that. I mean, I would call it COLA otherwise. I don't know if that really matters verbiage wise. It's still the same amount of money, but
We would still be more responsive as merit, not COLA.
okay.
I
That's
agree.
why we leave it
Well,
to the elected officials.
Yeah.
and the
Right,
reason,
with the
Discretionary.
elected- so that the elected officials can make that.
so the language that I chose and that I will present, because it was what was used here, I think gives each elected official a little bit of wiggle room. I think it's important to notate that, and I think that's part of what I will say because that's what we use, that the 3.2% is based upon a CPI adjustment to pay for the lost 0.5% last year and then the full CPI for this year. And then it would give elected officials the option whether to give that. I mean, it's a COLA adjustment when you look at where the number came from, right? But it doesn't have to be given to everybody like a traditional COLA does. The elected official would have the option to, give it out as a merit, or however they choose to do that.
So then I have a question. When it comes to appropriating these funds to each department, would it just be then a straight 3.2 to every department? Or would it be a transfer of funds contingent upon the payroll change form that's submitted that may or may not be up to the 3.2%? So is it an automatic 3.2 or is it discretionary pending the payroll change form?
You would have to load the 3.2 in as appropriations,
To
so
be able to
you
do it.
can do the PO and turn it in. So it
So-
would be you're getting 3.2.
You're getting 3.2 whether you use it or not.
And if you don't want to use it, then it would just lapse back at the end of the fiscal year.
Or you can give it to D3. We'll be fine with that.
Y'all have,
Or, you could always, make a motion to, come in here and, if you don't want it, you don't want it sitting on your books through the year to lapse. I mean, we could always have a recommendation to transfer it to reserve.
Well, that was actually gonna be my next. I mean, you may not know this, I'm not really trying to put you on the spot, but if you think there's any indication that it won't happen, is that something that we could put together as if that's something that your department doesn't want to do, your elected officials, can we get those numbers specifically for that so the budget board be ready to go from this number minus, let's say, if D2 is not gonna do it, if the county department's not gonna do it,
Mhm.
that way we could, like to Cody's point, so it's not just sitting on the books, that number will be ready to go for a budget board to make Plan B recommendation instead of Plan A.
I don't think I could have that information for this week's budget board,
Okay.
but I do like your idea.
Well, Albert's got it on the sheet. I mean, it's all,
I still don't know.
Hadn't we had a situation where an officer or two has previously at the budget board meeting to finalize the budget said, we're not taking it?
Yeah, and I think what Brandon's saying is it would be a lot easier if we had those numbers ahead of time. I think, Brandy, what you're saying is you may not want to go that route at the budget board meeting, but after that, you may want to.
Possibly. I mean, I would have to talk to my commissioner.
Okay, so if you have an indication, or if your elected official has an indication that they would reject the 3.2% for their particular budget, if you could have that number, the 3.2 that's associated with your increase and whoever ready, so that if they say, no, we don't want it in that meeting, we can subtract that out and just have it.
It would be
in
useful
reserve.
information, whether he makes the decision to go that route or not at that time remains to be seen, but at least we would have that information.
Yeah,
that's right.
and
We got
and Albert has the breakdown, so I guess you're right, Brandon. We already have that info.
Yeah.
You just need to be careful and make sure it kind of ties to this, because if you're
So what is that, Albert? Is that the 683154?
Well, that's from the commissioner's side of the subject.
Yeah, that's all the commissioners.
Yeah, so now, that would be
You're
But
you're
no.
saying like 29,
Yeah,
line 29.
Yeah, so that would be your portion, 9709 for D1, and then the county clerk is 76,246.
So D2, 683154. 683154.
Does that include benefits as well? That number?
yeah,
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 it includes the
1965.
Okay.
back in retirement.
Okay.
683154. I guess you can get it.
No, you have to do that out of your special. Your specials.
I was thinking it may be handier to have that information ready instead of
Yeah, it's a good thought.
having to phone.
Yeah,
through.
Better
well.
too much information than not.
Albert, can you send me this document so I have it in case there's a question, in case it comes up? Whenever I'm at the podium, I'll have the numbers.
Can you roll it up just for a
Yeah.
second? I just need.
No can do.
Thank you, sir.
All right, is there anything else on this wonderful agenda that anybody wants to discuss?
I'd like to go back to the watch list.
Okay.
I was just trying to make you forget
It's super easy.
that.
We're back at the watch
Or
list.
back at the watch list.
Item 3.
There's three
Cassie,
items.
for the record.
There's three items to remove. It'd be the court clerk, things we funded through supplement. So it'd be the 62,250. Remove the 55,000 IT Microsoft, and then the 1.8 for salary. We need to remove those three. That's okay.
Second.
Well, hang on. Do we want to do that or move those over into the recommended? Well, if we do it into the recommended.
No, I think it'd be too confusing.
But if they're not approved at budget board,
Then we can add them back at the next meeting.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
okay.
Because
So-
if they see it on here,
Yeah, so we've got a motion and did we have a second?
And a third.
And a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth.
Is that all in?
To remove the, from the watch list, the court clerks, the courtroom clerk item, the IT, 365 item, and the salary adjustment 3.5% item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
I think I know the answer, but is there any reason to put the items that Paul brought up on the watch list?
we've always said as long as there's dollars attached.
So I just, again, there's the part where I just wasn't sure because if it comes out of that money that Jessica was talking about earlier that may, I just don't know.
Paul, would you want to
I
bring
don't
them
have a
back?
problem doing that, but I'd rather have more exact figures.
Yeah, we
Okay,
could do it
okay.
in October.
fair enough,
Those are kind of ballpark that I was
Okay.
given.
fair enough. I just wanted to make sure that was.
We've always said we'll add whatever.
I don't know if it was discussed last meeting, but I'd like to add the blinds because it's not covered by ARPA for our 5th floor.
The blinds are part of your
The blinds are part of
425,
the floor furniture and blinds.
according to Jennifer. She
Okay.
gave us a breakdown.
It's on the
So-
list.
Okay.
It's on the watch list.
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
So you're good.
Thank you.
No. And it sounds like there may be money in that account, capital account. Or I think Bill White said the other day on the phone that there may be money, like 400,000 or something available in that
Still in your.
contingency to cover most
Yeah.
of that 425.
Well, my understanding is blinds aren't covered for social distancing.
Right, that was 38.
Yeah, it's just-
That'd be separate.
Yeah.
One time. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, the jail's not here. They sent me an email yesterday with some kind of answer to some of the stuff that we had asked before. I asked them if they were gonna be here to address the questions and answer any follow-up questions that, people might have. And I say yesterday, I got that on Friday, and I've not received a
In
a
that
reply. So
communication-
I can forward their responses on to anybody that would like to see them. But once again, I thought they might be here today to talk about stuff.
Was there anything mentioned in what you received from them regarding the overpayment issue that they said they were working on, and then they said, oh, no, we didn't really start. Now we're starting, and it could have been upwards of, if I recall, over $1 million or more.
I don't remember, but there was something addressed regarding that.
And then the fall under that line.
Yeah, I'll forward you the responses, but there's, as I read through it, there were lots of questions that I had based upon some of the answers. So I thought that they would be here, but I guess what they want is for us to send them questions and then be able to do research and find somebody that can answer the questions and email it back and not be available for a back and forth dialogue, which is very inefficient. And I mean, but it seems like that might be their approach based upon recent circumstances, but I don't know. So
I will get the watch list updated and the sheet that was passed out and get it to the clerk's office.
perfect. All right, anybody have anything? If not, citizens participation. Did anybody sign up? Nobody signed up. Are you sure? Can you double check that? Okay. All right, board comments. District 2,
No, thank you.
clerk. District 3,
No, thank you.
District 1.
I just want to thank Christy for going and checking that number and getting with Stacy
It was your good catch.
and Stacy for her work earlier in the year to revise those estimates. That made a significant difference, and hopefully we won't hear we're broke, insolvent, et cetera, when we have $10 million plus in reserve. So
Treasurer,
Oh, nothing.
court clerk, assessor.
I just want to say thank you for everybody's working into it. Still optimistic in the numbers, but the 10 million is really not a number that we see annually like that. I still think I'm very concerned on their funding source of revenue for operation and maintenance of the jail. As we move forward, because a lot of these funds are not funds that we generate annually.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that everybody said so far. But I think it's a good look. We funded benefits in its entirety, plus put additional premiums in. The fact we've got a little bit more money in capital sitting there. Everybody's request got funded at 100%. I'm the rookie on this group, but I still don't think I've ever seen that. We're able to do that and still have a pretty healthy reserve. So I think that's a good look on us this year. So hopefully it all works out that way on Thursday.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of good comments. I agree with all of them. Christy, thank you for all your hard work. Cassie, you keeping us on
Yes.
track and keeping the notes and doing everything and making
Taking
sure that
care of us.
I mean, she emails me all the time, calls me, and make sure that the trains are on the track. And I really want to thank you and tell you that I appreciate everything that you did. Really do. Albert, thank you.
fastest fingers in the West over here.
All right, guys, I guess
Motion to adjourn.
in 2 weeks, it'll be time to start next fiscal year, right? All right, is there a motion to, we got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
You're in the books.